Back on a Genshin Impact video. Today we are going over Kinich's kit. It has finally been released. After this, I'm actually going to drop a video on the banners, but I want to discuss this first. So, Kinich character skill showcase. Sidebar, look out for this character, the Stone Cold Ethan, the Bean Doctor, coming to Genshin Impact. Trust me, they'll make $1 million if they put me in the video game. All right, so go over this. Hello, Traveler, bringing information on Kinich's kit. Artwork is fire, a jaw, a gaw, however you pronounce it, the best character in the game. So pretty much, when casting Elemental Skill, Kinich will enter a Night Soul Blessing state and use a grappling hook to link with enemies. In this state, he can accumulate Night Soul points through various methods such as loop shots, when Night Soul points are full, Kinich can expand them to unleash the powerful Sales Keeper's Cannon, dealing Dendro damage. His burst summons Almighty Dragon Lord Ajah, which will periodically unrelease his Dragon Breath, dealing AoE Dendro damage. So, these are Ascension mats. Pretty nothing crazy. This is talent level ups for whatever you're trying to want to pre-farm. He is a claymore user, so 3 normal strikes, nothing too crazy. It does say that after you use his elemental skill, Canopy Hunter, mid-air swing, he can perform a normal attack mid-air before landing, which is cool. I mean, realistically, I don't know what you're going to fight mid-air after you do your Spider-Man, but hey, that's a cute option. There's that. His charge attack, nothing too crazy, spinning, etc. So this is where we get to the important stuff. So his elemental skill is going to be not only his means of actual travel throughout Natlan, but this is where a majority of his kit is going to be held between. So as you can see, he is Spider-Maning in the air. You know what I'm saying? And so when there's no enemies or interactive objects nearby, Kinich's elemental skill will fire a grappling hook forward, carrying out an aerial swing. Under certain conditions, he can even perform a second aerial swing. Hold aim to determine the direction of the grappling hook. Now, my thoughts on Natlan movement and exploration was covered in a completely different video. I'm just going to be 1,000% honest. So I think it is a little underwhelming. I don't see why it has to be under certain conditions. You could only do a follow-up, but whatever, that is not what we're here for. We're here to talk about his kit. So, elemental skill. He latches onto his enemies here, right? And this is Night Soul point. So, after using his elemental skill, Kinich will link to the enemies using his grappling hook and enter a Night Soul's Blessing state, automatically generating Night Soul points per second. So if you look, when he latches on, he actually doesn't have max Night Soul points immediately. Someone like Mualani, who starts off with her skill, it actually starts off with max Night Soul points. In this instance, it seems like you have to gain the Night Soul points. So he can also perform loop shots on enemies caught by the grappling hook through normal attacks, further accumulating Night Soul points. Now, the normal attacks is what I'm just curious about. I don't know if Yalan, Zincho will work with this with coordinated attacks. That is something that I'm going to look into, that I would like to see. If so, I think they could be good people for him to use. But we'll get to team compositions later. When Night Soul points are full, Kinich can use his elemental skill to consume them and make that cannon, this gigantic cannon. So once he hits that threshold, bam, big PP Dendro damage. And then the elemental burst. So one thing I want to go over the skill real quick is I'm going to bring out the old trusty paint is, if this is Kinich, right? So we can call this Kinich, and this is the enemy, right? So what I've noticed is it seems like he does have some AoE capabilities, but the AoE is kind of centered. So for example, when you latch on to this person, right? Your AoE is only going to be centered around this person. This is your AoE area. If you are latching onto a person that's over here, right? And they're not in this center, you are not going to hit the enemy that is over here unless they actually move forward to you. Keep that in mind. Although he has AoE capabilities, he is not going to be the best for AoE. It is completely based on where the opponent is. So we got one here, one here, one here. If I am latching on to the one on the top, it's only going to have certain radius. It might not be able to hit all 3 of these. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. We don't know the exact radius yet, but just keep that in mind. He is single target damage with the exception of a little bit of AoE damage. So just keep that in mind when you are rolling him. Also, he runs with burning, So if you have Al Hatham, you're like, I really already have a single target Dendro DPS. I don't want, a burning character. That's fine. But just keep that in mind. So his burst is cool. After casting the Almighty Dragon Lord, Ajah will appear immediately, dealing Night Soul aligned AoE Dendro damage to his enemies. When Ajah is on the field, he will periodically unleash Dragon's Breath and will continue to deal damage in the same attribute. Pretty simple stuff here. Big PP damage off rip. Ajah then is going to do multiple follow-up attacks. I think it's 2, or is it 3? Seems like it's 2 right there. So his passive talent. In Natlan, switching to Kinich will trigger one of the following scenarios. Movement. Find a grappling hook and swing midair. When there are coil grass uses sigils that can be interactive with nearby grappling hooks, will prioritize targeting them for movement. Or when they're nearby opponents you're in combat, Kinich will use his skill. Now, that's pretty cool. The swapping out of combat, immediately holding on to an enemy, I like that. I think that's pretty dope. He's all about styling, brother. He's that Ric Flair styling and profiling type, you know what I'm saying? That this dude is, his drip is immaculate. His movement is going to be good. It's not going to be superior. It's going to be good. So that is pretty sick. Now, his passive talent is Kinich Elemental Skill can interact with specific objects, and this will not cause his elemental skill to enter cooldown. Interaction rules are the same as the other, I don't know what that means, but so he could Spider-Man around 2 of those other things on the map, and it won't use his cooldown. That's an instance where you could use his skill multiple times. You're Spider-Man over to there, you Spider-Man over to the other one, you haven't used your skill, now you can Spider-Man to the air again. So that is his passive. Now, normal attacks, what is his talent detail? After using his elemental skill, he can perform normal attacks. We know that, okay. Kinich uses his big game hunting skills to either move swiftly or attack his opponents. Okay. With 0 Night Soul points, we know that he starts with 0. He fires grappling hook with a 60% decreased cooldown. So if you miss a target, if you were traversing through the land and there are no enemies, right? So if there are no enemies, right? Let's scroll down here. He's Spider-Man's and there's nothing. He's getting a 60% cooldown reduction. If he traverses through and he hits enemy, right? He hits Bob over here. It's normal. Normal cooldown. So just keep that in mind as well. That's 60% is cool and all, but it's not enough in my opinion. But whatever. I digress. Kinich's Night Soul Blessing lasts 10 seconds and generates 2 Night Soul points every second. In this state, Kinich will hook onto a nearby opponent to perform variable attacks. That is important to know because you will know that you will be proccing your, that new artifact set for him every second. So you don't need to worry about not proccing that new artifact set when you are in your skill. You will consistently proc that artifact set. Will fire loop shots. He loops around the grapple target, yada, yada, yada. And will generate 3 Night Soul points. Loop shot damage is considered elemental skill damage, so you're going to want to prioritize elemental skill. When Night Soul points are maxed, you can use elemental skill, consume all night points. Align is after firing, Kinich Cannon will try to grapple to his target. He will automatically grapple to the target once he's done this burst. So not the burst, this big attack. Once he does this big attack over here, he will automatically grapple back to the target. So just keep that in mind as well. So that way, I don't know if that will cost another elemental skill. I don't know. I mean, that I guess we'll have to wait to find out. But Unleash the Power of Almighty Dragon, temporary deals a draw, blah, blah, blah. We know that. Cool. That's just his burst. So when Kinich is in Night Soul Blessing stand, opponents hit by elemental skill will enter the Desolation state. And when affected by burning or Bursion reaction, they will restore 7 Night Soul points to him. So this is another way to gain Night Soul points by pretty much doing nothing. Again, this is why Mara Chussie is nowhere near the value of this new set. Due to the fact that you don't need to drain your HP, you simply just have to play the video game and you'll get 40 crit rate. Great stuff right here, right? They will restore 7 Night Soul points to him. Night Soul points will be gained this way once every 0.8 seconds. The Desolation state will persist until this instance of Kinich's Night Soul Blessing state ends. And then Flaming Spirit Pact. After a nearby party member triggers a Night Soul burst, so he's going to get an upgrade if you're running with someone else from Natlan. Kinich will gain 1 stack of Hunter's experience that lasts 15 seconds, max 2 stacks. When he uses the Canopy Hunter's Riding Spiker Cannon, all stacks of Hunter's experience will be consumed. This is the skill. This is the big cannon from the skill when you have max Night Soul. Will be consumed with each stack, consuming increased damage by the cannon shot by 320%. So, he is another character that is going to work better when you are running Natlan units. So we are not going to be seeing his full potential of this until we have more Natlan units that synergize with him. So keep that in mind. Actually, I mean, technically you can if you threw Mualani and Kinich in there. Actually, maybe Mualani and Gina, but that's not a good team. And when Kinich is in the air, he consumes 10 Philosophy points to blah, blah, blah. Okay. Current active character is sprinting the movement states. Okay. This is really nothing insane. Like, that's just normal stuff. When interacting with coil grass, yep, cool, yada, yada. Okay. Cool. So that is Kinich's kit in a nutshell. Again, massive burning unit. Burning inversion is where he is going to come into play. And again, this talent is where gamers MTash here, and this changes everything. This is the thing that Mualani had as well. Okay, again, keep this in mind. We'll read it again. Opponents hit by his elemental skill, when entered the state, will be affected. They will restore 7 Night Soul points. Since I'm supposed to be in, oh, I'm sorry. Wait, I'm a goofy goober. There we go. After a nearby party member triggers a Night Soul burst, Kinich will gain 1 stack of Hunter's experience. So, if you're talking about team compositions, who do you want? The thing is, actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. Shout out to Genshin. Toma is going to get a spotlight for a little bit before this homie is going to be, is unfortunately going to be, Powercraft, but let's talk about it. So, let's just pretend Nervalet is Kinich. You can run a few team compositions. You can run Benny, you can run Shang Lang, and you can run Emily here. Emily is going to be very good because that is going to be an extra sub DPS. Although Emily does not buff burning or burning damage, you place her ult right in the slab dab middle. You then hook onto the enemy. Well, before you hook on, you do the burst with these 2 sillies, and then you swirl around, and they're going to die pretty much instantaneously. So that is good. Shang Lang is just going to be good regardless. You could run Farina with Emily. You could run quite a few compositions. You could even... you don't want to use people like Arlecchino. You don't want to use people like really any on-fielder, because Kinich is supposed to be the main on-fielder. So you wouldn't use Arlecchino here like how you would in like an Emily team. You could run Dia. You could run Toma. There's quite a few options, you know. I don't know if Yolanda and Zincho are going to work. If they proc with that normal attack, those would be good, but I really don't know. Nahida is not a bad option either. You could run Kaza to throw in some swirl. So, like, let's say Kinich, Shang Lang. You would throw Emily here. You could throw Nahida. You could throw Farina. You could swirl. And then, you know, whatever. There are tons of ways to obviously operate with this character. Now, obviously, his best artifact set is going to be the new one that just dropped. That is on Mualani. Actually, let me go to Mualani real quick. I'll show you. This is going to be his best in-slot artifact set. The Obsidian Codex. It is just genuinely too broken to not use. Night Soul damage, crit rate. It's free. It's absolutely free. His weapon, if you don't have his signature, which you don't need to get his signature, you could legitimately just run the free claymore that they gave out. The free claymore that they gave out is pretty solid. The Earthshaker. After party member triggers a pyro-related reaction, the equipping character's elemental skill damage increased by 16% for 8 seconds, which we know it goes with elemental skill for him. This effect can be triggered even when the party member is not on field. This is amazing. I would say just go with this. Maybe you could run Sack or something, like, if you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Because that could help to get down, you know, his time. I don't know what his cooldown times are looking like, but I also have a feeling, speculation, that by the time you're done with his rotation, his skill is probably already going to be off of cooldown. But honestly, bro, just run Earthshaker. Just run Earthshaker. There's really nothing else to worry about. Is he like a must pull? Should you pull this, homie? If you like burning, yes. Obviously, when they drop the Pyro Archon, they will get better, and then they drop other supports for him, he will get better, so that way he gets the increased sustained damage. But, yeah, I think he's cool. I might throw a few pulls in there and see if I get him to Spider-Man around the world, because I'm literally the living embodiment of Peter Parker. But I don't know if I'm going to pull him. Is he a must pull? I don't think so. I don't think it's a situation like Mualani, where it's going to break the game, you know? But we'll see what happens. With that being said, I love you. I love your mother a little bit more. I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.